Good evening, good evening, good evening. First of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for coming. And this is our 4th year. Every time we've come here, it's been a blessing. I bring greetings from Brooklyn, New York.
Yay!
New York. Yeah, okay, I see you. So my name is Brian Favors, and I am the co-founder of the Nate Parker Foundation. The Nate Parker Foundation is a nonprofit organization that works to empower young filmmakers of African descent to use film as a vehicle for healing and community transformation. We have over 120 filmmakers. This is our 4th year being in existence. We have our 5-year reunion coming up this year, so it's been a blessing. You guys are in for a treat today. Before we get started, could I have all of my MPF students? We have 4 classes here. Could you guys stand up really quick? Could we give a round of applause? These beautiful young people. So we're going to talk a little bit about our programs. Our staple program is called, it's our Summer Film Institute. And just a little bit of background about the foundation. I've known Nate for over 20 years. We met in the late 90s at Penn State University. We had a mentor-mentee relationship. It was right when I had started my career. I was a former athlete. Nate was an athlete. And I pulled him into an organization that got athletes involved in community work. We had our motto for our organization that was called The Bigger Picture was Paul Robeson. How many of y'all know anything about Paul Robeson? Okay, if you don't, you need to know. I was 23 years old before I learned about his legacy. We had a Paul Robeson Cultural Center, but very few people knew about this man who spoke 18 languages, who was the son of a slave, valedictorian of Rutgers, who played pro football on Sunday while going to law school during the week, who wrote books with W.E. Du Bois, who was in movies like The Emperor Jones, right, back in the day when it was black and white movies, Step and Fetch, and here he was, the Emperor Jones. Powerful brother, Pan-African thinker. And he had a quote, he said, "The artist must elect to fight for freedom or slavery. I have made my choice." And because of that choice that he made, he was essentially erased from the history books. So that was I learned about him in the late 90s with Nate. Nate wasn't even involved in film, but we know that that was a powerful seed that was planted. In 2008, I moved to Brooklyn. Nate got into Hollywood. 2008, he was in a film called The Great Debaters. How many of y'all saw the movie The Great Debaters? Right? Nate contacted me. I was in Brooklyn. I was a high school teacher, and it was almost as if he had said, you know, I'm grown now. I have a platform. He initially asked me to help him with the speech he was working on, and that was really the foundation of our foundation. We traveled the country with The Great Debaters. That, as a result of that movie, thousands of debate programs in urban communities throughout the country started. In Rwanda, Uganda, which really spoke to the power of film and the power of storytelling and reminding people of that legacy. In 2015, we created the Nate Parker Foundation, right? So what you guys are gonna see today, you're gonna see 2 films from us, and we're gonna highlight first our Summer Film Institute. Just to give you a little bit of background about this film. Every year, we take 30 filmmakers from across the country. Every year we've been blessed to have at least one student from the continent. We put them through a cultural rites of passage. We call it a Sankofa journey, right? So the first 3 days they meet. These are young people from all over the country, Atlanta, California, Mississippi, right? Different economic backgrounds, because we got diversity in black people, right? They come together, they don't know each other, they get there on Saturday. The first 2 days they go through the Sankofa journey because we're clear, yes, we want you to know how to hold that camera, but we want to make sure that you are intentional and purposeful when you use it, right? So they go through a whole process of learning about the role that film has played in our community to perpetuate inferiority as well as to liberate, right? Then they come together, they all come with ideas to pitch a potential film that we could make, right? All of them go through a pitch, they pick the film that they want to make. Nate brings all his crew, cinematographers, directors, producers. Then they go through an intensive of learning all the technical aspects. They prep for their movie, right, on Wednesday, and on Thursday and Friday, they make a movie. And on Saturday, they have a red carpet screening, the community comes out, and, you know, I'm an educator, and I know how hard it is to get anybody, especially black folks, to even decide on lunch and be on the same page. So to think that these 30 young people can come together and create a film, right, is remarkable in 2 days, and something that is actually inspiring and can uplift our people. So we just want to thank you, because this is all about them. A lot of my students, this is the first time that they've been in Los Angeles. And every year we come to the Pan-African Film Festival, they leave feeling like giants, because they have a village that's going to wrap their hands around them. As a person spoke before, this is the Pan-African Film Festival. This is our film festival. So we are just thankful. Before we move on, can I get all the staff? We have a number of our staff, people here with MPF. Could I get you all to stand up? Incredible staff. I met Twinkie. She's going to be on the panel later. I met her 3 years ago at the Pan-African Film Festival, and now she is family. Now she has adopted all 120 of our students. So really blessed to be here. We're going to get started. Before we show our film, we want to show you a quick trailer that just gives you a little bit of the feel of what we do with the Nate Parker Foundation. So thank you again, and we hope you enjoy. Queen, King.
How y'all doing? I can do a little bit better than that. How y'all doing? I'm just saying, it's Sunday. Come on now. I'm King, as you guys know, Pasadena born, Compton raised. I was one of 5 directors that directed this lovely film you guys are about to see with our creator, Elijah J. McNutt. And let me just tell you, it's about a basketball player who has to pick between the game or his people. I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Y'all can enjoy the film. God bless.
Could we give it up one more time for these amazing young filmmakers? Before I bring the panel up, could I just get all of the MPF students that participated in this to stand up? Stand up. So as I said, they met on Saturday, and by the next Saturday, they had a film. So could I get the panel to come up? Could I get all the panelists to come up? Take a seat. Yeah. Oh yeah. Wherever you want. Yeah. So today we're going to have a little conversation just about, so you can get to know the filmmakers and we can talk about the significance of this film. I think just from looking at the credits, you see what the point was. Very relevant today. But I guess just to start, if we could go down the line, if you could introduce yourself, what city you're from, what school you're from, and what role you played in this film. Just to get it started. We'll start with you, John.
What up, y'all? My name is John Patterson. I'm from the city of Wayne, Chicago, Illinois.
Louder.
What up, y'all? My name is John Patterson. I'm from the city of Wayne, Chicago, Illinois. Attending Clark Atlanta University currently. I'm a director. I directed the film.
How's everybody doing? My name is Elijah J. McNutt. That's Elijah J. McNutt. You say your name twice so you don't have to repeat it. Appreciate that.
He's also a comedian, stand-up. He really is.
I'm a stand-up comedian, actor, writer, creative consultant, host, filmmaker, from Chicago, just like this guy right here. And I was the creator and one of the writers for this film.
All right.
Hold your shot.
Hey everybody, my name is Lauren and I'm from Atlanta, born and raised. This is my first time in LA, so this is an honor to be here seeing this film. But yeah, I was one of the 2 producers. Salonica is the other producer, but I was one of the 2 producers for the film.
Hi everyone. I just have to say my heart is like beating so fast. I'm Karla Brown, a senior broadcast journalism student at Florida A&M University. I'll be graduating May 1st. Thank you. I was one of the cinematographers for the film, and I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Star Rivers. I'm from Austin, Texas, and I played Vijay in Culture Shot. And also, I'm just so grateful to be here, and I'm so glad you guys can make it out here to see this film.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Laurent Marzette. I'm from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and I played Dante in the film. I went to school at Oklahoma City Community College. I studied film. I'm 21 years old, just turned 21 in February.
Hello, my name is Jalen Eastman. I was one of the directors and also the coach in the film. I'm born and raised in Mississippi. I live in San Francisco right now. So Mississippi, I guess we're in the house. It is just great to be here. I'm so grateful that you all came, and I hope you all enjoyed it.
Good afternoon. My name is Tracy Twinkie Byrd. I am a casting director, producer, executive producer, author. I am one of the mentors of the Nate Parker Foundation, and I'm so incredibly thankful for this organization. I teach a workshop called Take Back Your Freedom, and we talk about taking our freedom and our images back, and then we cast and made this. So I'm very, very proud.
We actually met here 3 years ago at the Film Festival. So my first question for the group, and I guess it really you first, because you came up with the idea. As I told you guys, they all come with ideas, they pitch, and then they pick the film that they're going to tell. So the first question would be, what inspired this film? And then I want to hear from you all, what was it about this film and this concept? Because we had some serious films that were pitched. A lot of competition, but what was it about this film that really made you guys want to tell this story? But we'll start with you. Where did the idea come from?
Elijah McNutt again. The idea came from, I was just sitting with my buddy, DeMarquise Watson, when we were coming from just sitting at the program. We had one of the long days of doing one of the, like Miss Twinkie was telling us about some of the classes that we attended. We go through those for a whole day, and after that we were sitting in the car just trying to relax a little bit and decompress and just talk to each other about what the program was doing for us and what was going to be our pitch on that coming Wednesday and what we were going to pitch. And we were just asking all the upperclassmen about what we should do. And one thing they told us that the person that won last year, we knew he won when he was done, and he was really captivating. And I just took that and was like, that's what I wanted to do. Let's just try to bring that. So me and my buddy, we just started figuring out ideas, and I'm just bouncing them off him. And but the idea was really coming from athletes having their power, especially black athletes. I have this real crazy dream about some of the top black athletes coming out of high school getting together and like, you know what, let's not go to Duke, let's not go to Kentucky, but let's just go to Tennessee State University and HBCU. And them using their power and figuring out those different type of ways that they can. And this one we brought, it was a guy named Dante who had all the confidence in the world, a guy who never had to really see or feel his blackness because everybody loved him because of how great he was at basketball. So he never had a chance to really feel what the other students at his school felt. Many times students are at huge schools, the Kentuckys, the Ohio States, and those black students are the product, or is what's bringing all these students here, but they're never having any contact with the black student unions, the black student associations, and I always wonder why. You're not in a fraternity. It's like they just don't have that source, and those students struggle, but they don't most of the time. So this film came from athletes using their power and just understanding who they are, and that if they said something on campus and made a statement, that the university would have no other option but to follow you.
Why was it that you guys decided on this particular film?
I guess I'll speak on that. As a producer, I felt like this story was important, for one, because I think that, especially in this generation, as a millennial, we can get so caught up in our own lives and just focusing on our personal end goal. And sometimes we forget about the culture or the people or why we are doing what we're doing. And I think that Culture Shot was a really good example of how our leadership can affect the masses. And for me, that is what stuck out the most about the story, is that we all have a platform, and we have the choice to decide what we want to do with our platform. And I think that as we all go in our lives and pursuing what it is that we want to pursue, we should all keep that in the back of our minds, because at the end of the day, I believe that our gifts were given to us for the sole purpose of helping others and inspiring others, and leaving a true legacy that is unselfish or selfless of ourselves. So that's personally why I chose to vote for Culture Shot. Thank
you. I know me personally as a director, the reason this film really touched me was mainly because it was larger than just basketball. To me, I believe it's a much more, it's a systematic problem, that whenever black people start to advance or they start to get higher, their success is threatened for sticking up for their people, because while you're up here, all the rest of your people are down here. You had to leave all these people behind you. So I figured by speaking to this basketball campus and speaking to how he's disconnected from his people on this campus, we're speaking to the large majority of people. I believe it's a very important message, and I think that we executed it. We did a pretty bomb job.
Okay, hello. So just speaking also as a director, one reason why the film really stuck out to me, not only is it a very powerful story that needs to be told, but it gave us the opportunity to use a lot of the campus. So it gave us a lot more resources to work with. A lot of the films that we had were really, really ambitious films, almost Black Mirror-esque type stories with beautiful content, but it would have cost a lot to kind of get those things done. But the resources that we had at the campus, it was almost like God aligned it to happen and aligned the story to be told. And it's something that, like we say, we are in a position as black people to tell the story of those black athletes who have that power to change. And us being at a school, why not? It was the best opportunity to do it. So that's one of the main reasons for me.
I think when Elijah did his pitch, you should have seen him do this pitch. It just stood out, and it's so relevant. Colin Kaepernick, Eric Reed, LeBron James, shut up and dribble. It just stood out, and it was urgent. It was the urgency of it. And so that's how I feel. That's why I picked it as my number one.
Yes. He came down with the basketball dribbling through his legs. One thing that Elijah didn't tell you, I met him at Tennessee State University for the Hbcu National Debate Championships. And he's a great debater. He didn't share that. But definitely his pitch stood out. The next question that I want to ask you guys, we talked about the fact that you met on Saturday and you was brother and sister by Tuesday and crying and we couldn't pull you apart by Saturday. What was the most significant thing that you got from this experience? Obviously there were technical skills, but just the fact that, as we said before, it's hard to get young people to agree on lunch. But you guys were able to come together with 4 or 5 directors, with 2-3 producers, and from the outside, I know it wasn't all smooth, but from the outside, I know all the staff will attest to it. It's a beautiful thing to watch. It is. Right? Just to watch a young group of people in sync. What was the most significant thing that you got from this? And I have the benefit of talking to you guys regularly, so I know. But maybe share with the people what was most significant about this experience.
So just reflecting on the experience, I'm thinking about how rooted the foundation was. And like you said, a process is a process. So of course, there's bumps in the roads and it smooths out ebbs and flows. But the fact that we were so rooted in what it is that we came for, and the cultural, the exposure that we got, the introduction to non-linear living and thinking, it was something that, it is something that is transformative. It was life-changing, and I think that the biggest thing that I took from it was the importance of community and having a village. Wherever it is that you go or whatever it is that you do, it's the importance of being rooted in having some sort of foundation an understanding of where you're headed and being intentional with that. So that was the main thing, like just that affirmation and that reminder that yes, like keep community first, because it's not like, because I feel like sometimes we think that when we think of community, it's about other people, but it's like, no, it's yourself as well. You know, like you are your community, like wherever you are right now. So, yeah.
What was most significant about the experience?
Oh, so much. I think just becoming a family with these guys. You know, like we're spending by the time we start filming, which was Thursday, right? Thursday and Friday. I already feel like they were my family in like those 3 days. So usually going on a set, you know, you can work with new people at all times, but just like meeting them those 3 days and just being able to go to set, I feel like they were already my brothers and sisters. And so just talking to them and having a good time with them and just being on set, it didn't feel like we were filming anything. It felt like we were just having a good time, you know, just messing around, but we were doing something great that our culture, that would represent our culture, and I really enjoyed that.
Well, I feel like for me personally, what I got that was most significant, I've never seen black people get together like this. I've never seen I've never seen I was never able to see growing up. I've never seen black people get together to create something so beautiful. You know, usually coming from where I'm from, when black people would get together, it'd be to bring destruction, to bring heartbreak, or bring turmoil. So then getting out here, and I see these black people when they're so vulnerable with each other and they're so passionate about what they want to do, that encourages me and that makes me the one to step it up. You know, like, yeah, I gotta get on their level. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what was most significant for me. I tell LeBron, I tell Lauren all the time, there's nothing in this world I enjoy more than being on set and directing. But directing for a purpose. Now, that's also what I got from this, because as black filmmakers, we don't have the luxury of making art just for art's sake. Our art has to speak for something. Our art has to mean something.
Oh, yeah, I was just want to also kind of just say what it came for me for, like I really was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in my life. I'm a little bit older, 26, maybe 27. I'm still young. But I was struggling on figuring out what my passion and my purpose was. I was a teacher as soon as I got out of college, been teaching for the past 5 years. And I was just trying to figure out what it was. And Nate said one very important thing. He was like, if you're looking for your purpose, you found it. You just did it, right? So just keep living in this and never forget this one moment, because this is the rest of your life. So that really what stuck with me and allowed me to just take this moment, go forward. I literally drove from Mississippi last summer and I just changed everything altogether, you know. So this really just catapulted a whole new mindset.
Before I move on, I want to go to you, Twinkie, because we come and we bring the young people together, and we Nate brings his people, I bring my people, and we have this village. But I think as an adult and a professional, I think we get something special out of this that maybe sometimes isn't even anticipated. So maybe you could speak to what you get when you come to the Summer Film Institute as a professional who's already established in your field.
As a professional established in my field, I'm a crier. I cry a lot. The tears come rolling down my face. When I show up, I'm met with, of course, this fabulous woman here, Deanna. She picks me up from the airport, and we have great conversation on our way there while these young people are in a bus coming from Dallas down. By the time we all get together and we have these real conversations that many of us, even attending HBCUs, didn't learn about the mores and about the tropes in this industry and the things that are being used to program your minds and how we have to deprogram and then reprogram. And those are real things, because half the time, we have real talk. We're like, okay, yep, you saw Hidden Figures. How much did you learn about them? Nothing. Guess why? Because they're trying to keep the information from you. So what are we going to do? Research. That's what we're going to do. So for me, watching their eyes and their minds open And for them sharing with me, Miss Twinkie, this is how you do this on the iPhone, and this is how you do that. Like, they teach me, and I share with them, and the back and forthness of all of that it's amazing. It's amazing to watch their minds work. It's amazing to see them pitch. It's amazing to shift the mindset, right? To shift their mindset in order to make them understand that try is not a word that should be in there. They're not trying. You are doing. You are doing. And you're not aspiring. You are doing. What I am that I am. We talk about it all the time. And getting that in them and watching them get that in themselves. The process is just, it gives me my whole life. I block out a week out of my Hollywood time. And I'm on movies. I'm shooting Hollywood movies. And I'm like, yeah, there's this week in July, I'm not going to be available. And like, well, what, can you text or, nope, I don't have internet. I'm not available because I'm with them.
For the last question, I just want to ask a last question. And what was it like to work with Nate? What was it like to, Nate gets on the set. I've known Nate for a long time. He's an athlete. He comes in with a high level of energy. What was that like to see this person on the screen, and then for him to be there giving you advice and working with you? What was that like?
Hello? It does work. When he first got there, it was they said he was here, and I turned around. He was coaching somebody behind the camera, so it just happened that fast, and I was just watching. I was just watching, learning how he just interacted with everybody just easily, and it was just very easy to learn from. He was easy to talk to, and I was like, that's just something you would aspire to be. You know what I'm saying? That was just a great showing of who he was as a person. So.
I think for me, it was how available he made himself to the program and us as students and us as individuals. Nate really opened up himself, and he really poured into each of us individually, made sure he gave time to speak with us. And then even outside of the program, the relationships with him, with you, Brian, with the other staff members, they continue. They don't stop. And these people have become members, like lifelong members. I've had Robert, he helped me with the project on my own, and I just think the commitment that he and all the other staff members gave to us, it's like you can only imagine of being able to have that close of a relationship with somebody who's so in the industry and will really make themselves available for you because, I mean, they don't have to, so.
It was amazing working with me, as well as, like she said, all of the staff members. Just thinking about being on the set, it's crazy because now there's certain terminologies where I'll understand what people are talking about within film because, we did it. We were on the set and we were filming and we were blocking and, we were doing it. And so I remember when he first got on there, it was pretty intense because I was like, oh geez, now I gotta really, I can't. Yeah. And I remember there was one time when we were shooting in the gym, I was holding it not on my shoulder. I forgot the placement where it was, but it was, I had to follow. It was a following shot, and the times that I had to keep doing it over and over and over again, it was just my mind just changed basically. It was a target. I don't know. It became so intense, and I was just locked in, and I felt in my purpose, and I felt powerful. Because at first I was nervous, and I was oh geez, I'm gonna miss him every time that he goes to the hoop. But then I was no, I'm a cinematographer. I'm here for a reason. It was pretty fire.
I'll say, Nate just came in and he, like Elijah said, he just jumped right in. and was helping us. And I think he's so organic, like his intent and his passion and his heart. He truly, like every single one of us, was able to pour into us. And the afternoon before our premiere, he listened to all 30 of us. I don't know how many.
What was that, 3-4 hours?
It was like 5 hours. It was 5 hours of listening to crying of our experience and how we felt about the program. And I mean, he listened to every single one of us. And I went home and that just touched my heart like so much. And so that's just how I feel about it.
Nate, yeah, he's a dope dude. I remember Brian, he tells me, he's like, yo, when Nate gets here, he gonna get right into work. And I was like, all right, okay, I'll see about it. And then literally when he gets there, like, he grabbed me by my shoulder and was like, let's go. And I was like, oh, I feel like I'm in a football game right now. But yeah, it was really fun. He brought the energy to the set, and we were on time. We was making sure we were doing stuff right and on point. It was definitely an amazing experience.
I know for me personally, it was just so surreal because when they first got there, first of all, I texted my mom. She was like, you mean great debaters they parking lot? It was so surreal just to be in that space at first. And then my mom went right back to the sound like, all right, well, he's here to help us out. And just so many small tricks of the trade that he does, like, he says he doesn't cut often because he likes to hold the role, because when you cut, it makes the actors relax and stuff like that. Just stuff that I don't forget. He's very meticulous in his work. It was just very much easy to learn from. And he helped me, I felt a lot more confident because he was there backing me. So if I was doing something, he wasn't cutting me off, I'm like, oh, I must be doing this right, you know what I'm saying? So that's just how I felt. It was an amazing experience. And to have someone with that stature that just be so willing to come out and open himself up to his heart, help us. Like you said, he sat there and he listened to all 30 of us telling our life stories. 30 of us. I don't know, teachers haven't even done that. So it was really amazing.
No, I agree. It was really one of those experiences that you don't think that it'll actually happen until you're immersed inside of it. And when I got the chance to work with him, it just showed me about time management. That was a big thing that I really learned, is that, you can get things done in a very timely fashion. Organization is key. He's very organized, very timely, and, what we see, I wish that the world could see it. I wish that all of the media sites could come and showcase this moment, because they don't get to see this. They see other things, they showcase other things, but this, like you said, he listened to 30 people talk about mamas and daddy issues, everything we got going on. He listened to it, and genuinely felt and heard us, right? So just having somebody in that space to take that time is a blessing in itself, So just being able to be in the room, I was in the room where it happened. That's what Hamilton said, right? So I'm literally in the room with this man where it happened. It's just a grateful experience.
All right. Can we give it up for our panel, y'all? Let's give it up, give it up, give it up.
Give it up for Brian. Favors, everybody.
Okay, so before we introduce our next film, we talked about, with our foundation, we have 3 staple programs. We have the Summer Film Institute at Wiley College, home of the great debaters. We also have the Nate Parker School of Film and Theater there. And then in 2017, we got a grant from the Kellogg Foundation to start what we call the Hbcu Storytellers project, right? So we have a handful of here. Can I get my storytellers to stand up? Can I get them to stand up? So, before we play this next documentary, I think you guys all got a summary sheet of our Hbcu Storytellers docu-series. We're gonna watch part 3 today, but in 2017, we got a grant from the Kellogg Foundation to do some work with HBCUs in Virginia, Norfolk State, Virginia Union, and Hampton University. We put the call out. We got 15 aspiring filmmakers, storytellers, and we knew that we had to create 4 films that could be used as an engagement tool to go into the community and spark dialogue. Something to lead us toward racial healing and reconciliation. And truth be told, when we got the grant, we knew we wanted to tell some stories. We knew Virginia was the birthplace of American slavery, so there were some rich stories to tell. But at the time, we didn't even realize that 2019 was the 400-year commemoration of the first Africans that were brought here, right? We didn't even know that. No coincidences. So as you look through the summary, you'll see we did a 4-part series. At the time, we knew, we prayed about it. We knew we met every Saturday on Zoom. You know, we talk a lot about the negative aspects of technology, but we met, I got to be a professor with 15 students that lived in different cities, right? Every week we did research, and at the time we had no idea that we were going to get a chance to partner with Brian Stevenson, who now we know through Just Mercy, who's featured in part 1. We had no idea that we were going to get to work with Tim Kaine. And how many of you knew that there was an African American History Act for the last 2 years? A lot of people didn't even know about it. The African American History Act, that was legislation that was passed to teach about the 400-year commemoration. So we learned about that. We had a chance to meet Senator McClellan and the MLK Commission of Virginia, Ziana Bryant, right, who was the young 14-year-old. A lot of people didn't even know. When we think about Unite the Right, which is what we're going to show the video today, all of that was started, all of the issues around the Robert E. Lee statue was started by a 14-year-old freshman student in Virginia who got tired of walking by those memorials, right? So we're going to watch a quick trailer, and then we're going to jump right into the HBCU Storytellers. But this is a story directed by Chad from Virginia. And one of the things we wanted to do with the HBCU Storytellers, we wanted to arm these young people so that they could go and tell stories about our heroes. We have heroes in our community who are fighting for our people. Brian Stevenson, any of you had a chance to go to the lynching memorial in Alabama? If you, I know you did. I know you did. And if you haven't, I encourage you to do so. There is a movement right now. After Charlottesville, there was a movement to take down Confederate monuments, right? Almost 100 have been taken down. And there's also a movement to erect new monuments that tell our story and legacy, right? Over 50 monuments have been erected. So our docu-series highlights that. We have been blessed. We've had a chance to travel the country. We partnered with the New York Times 1619 Project, Nicole Hannah-Jones and Tremaine Lee. We did a youth conference with 8 high schools in Brooklyn, New York. We were in Richmond, Virginia, Virginia Union. We've been going to churches, Norfolk State. On Thursday, we had a chance to screen at USC. But the whole point is just to show young people, young people who are engaged in the community and telling their stories. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and show the trailer and jump right into our HBCU Storytellers project. I see you, Brooklyn. Heritage or Hatred. All right, give it up, give it up, give it up. So these are 4 of our 15 filmmakers in this project. Once again, can we give it up for our HBCU Storytellers? And just want to go ahead and start. If you guys could just introduce yourself, what school you went to, and what was most significant about this process for you?
Hello, my name is Bronson Christian. I'm a senior journalism major going to Hampton University. I think the most impactful was probably talking to the people on the street and getting their perspective. I think perspective is really important because you can forget why you're telling the story you're telling. So talking to them and realizing like how ignorant they were or how much they knew kind of reminded me like this is why we're telling the story, this is what we have to do.
Hello everybody, my name is Chad Gilbart. I attended a school called Liberty University. It's not an HBCU, but I was a part of the Nate Parker Foundation before, so I was able to help out with this. Ironically, Liberty University is a very conservative, politically conservative school. I studied government while I was there, and as I was watching the Unite the Right rallies, I was sitting in a space with a lot of conservative leading people saying, why are they making such a big deal about this? But what they didn't know is that my brother was the BSA president of UVA at the time, and he was right there why everything was going on. So while I'm sitting in an environment where people are making jokes about the situation, I'm calling my brother to see if he's doing okay. So I think the most impactful thing for me about this process was the power of perspective. We live in a time where people get their news from different sources, people get their opinions from different sources. Anything we want to find, we can find on the internet. There's so much quote unquote fake news going on out there. But we aren't getting the same information, and a lot of times we don't see things eye to eye, and we never have a discussion with people who think differently than us. So Oscar Michaud says that your self-image is so powerful that it becomes your destiny. And I think that like with this film, being able to have that discussion on screen, being able to push an image that wasn't just one side or another. You heard from many people who thought many different things. That was the most impactful and powerful thing about the piece to me.
Hi, my name is Brooklyn Baker. I graduated from Hampton University. One of the most impactful things for me has to be Ziona Bryant. I just think she's so fire simply because when you're youth and God has a calling on your life, the sacrifice is forevermore. You know what I'm saying? So you know how sometimes when people sacrifice themselves and they're 40 years old, it's kind of like, you had 39 years, to be chilling, But it's like when you sacrifice yourself at 12 years old, it's power in that. So I just think just to be able to celebrate her and also for her brilliance and for her excellence, I just think that she's somebody that deserves to be celebrated and somebody that deserves to be documented.
Destiny Frazier. I'm a graduating senior at Virginia Union University. I'm studying to be an elementary education teacher. The most significant thing about this journey, I think everything. Growing up, I wasn't too confident in the color of my skin. So going through this journey, it helped me embrace who I am and love who I am every day and be able to look in the mirror and just be happy in who I am and just walk in my purpose. So.
We only have time for a few questions, but I want to. Why is this Why is this debate so heated? Why when we talk about Confederate monuments and you guys growing up in Virginia, when you came to New York, a lot of our high school students didn't even understand the significance of it. But for you guys having to go to schools named after these individuals and whatnot, why is this such a heated debate that divides so many of us in this country?
Like I said earlier, I think it's a huge debate because we learn from different sources of information. So right after the Civil War, there was something called the Lost Cause narrative that said that they were fighting a just war. They were fighting to protect the way of life. They were fighting to protect the economic system. The economic system was free labor. So when you pass down a lie throughout the generations, then people believe that lie, and people hold on to that lie, and they say, it's my heritage, it's where I'm from, and they find pride in it. So when you have a minority who you normally don't hear from say, that heritage is harmful, the first thing that people are gonna do is say, you're trying to take something from me, and they're gonna hold on to it tighter. So I think that it is so important because of where we get our information. It's so important because there have been lies and false narratives spread not only to black people but to white people and about what they have done and what they have accomplished. So I think that you may not see it in LA. I come to California and I feel like it's the 1940s mixed with a little bit of Mexico. But in Virginia and on the East Coast and in the South, I feel like I'm on a plantation sometimes. I feel like it's the colonial era. Like I said earlier, the Oscar Michaud quote, your self-image is so powerful. And when young black children come up and they're going to schools named after Robert E. Lee, and they're living in neighborhoods called plantations, or they're living right next to battlefields that honor Confederate war veterans, this is a different country. This is the the Confederacy left the United States. They're learning that their self-image is not that powerful in this country, and the country that they helped build, and the country their ancestors helped build. And young white students are buying into a lie, and they're finding pride in a place that they should not find pride. So I think that is why it's so important, because it's harmful to the
Nailed it. Okay, so, and you kind of spoke to this, Brooklyn, and I think this is really significant. I know I got a lot out of it. How did it feel, and you spoke to it, but to see someone so young, right, that has such an impact, and not just Ziana, because Ziana was 14 when she started this, but Dr. Wes Bellamy is the youngest vice mayor in Virginia history, who was 28 years old when he took the charge. And so how does it feel, is it motivational to see someone even younger than you and someone who's kind of in your age group that had an impact that was global? How does that feel?
I think it's super dope. I think a common narrative that people like to say is that the kids are the future, but really the kids are right now. You know, like the impact that you have on life is right now. In the civil rights movement, the biggest movements that changed the world were made by the youth. You know, so I think that's a critical thing that we need to understand really what's happening. So that's why I think it's dope that Ziana Bryant, continues to fight the good fight, and sacrifice her childhood on behalf of that.
Okay. Last question. This is the Hbcu Storytelling. This is just the beginning because we're hoping to continue this because we want to put cameras in your hands to tell these stories and highlight these heroes. Talk about how storytelling and film can be used as a vehicle to bring about change. You guys just had a great experience, but let's talk about that. Why is filmmaking such a powerful tool?
Filmmaking to me is a powerful tool because you can gather strangers in a room and reshape their whole perspective. You can make them laugh, you can make them cry, you can force them to consider something they normally would not consider. So that to me is powerful enough to start any conversation. And I think that's the role of this documentary series. I'm looking forward to being part of it too.
That's a great question. She wants to know, what are the 4 stories that you're dying to tell next? That we're working on something.
I think life's all about perspective. I think that I said this already. I said it a couple times. But in the next election, I think that we are moving more and more divided, or are we going to move more and more together? And I think that's something that we need to know, because that's our future, and that sets the tone for how elections are carried out for years and years and years to come. So for me personally, I see a connection between the past and the future and the present. The Sankofa idea is a cornerstone of the Nate Parker Foundation. And when I look at what's going on in the news, and I look back on people like William Trotter and I can't think of the president at the time. But when I look back at that, and I look to see how the president was showing Birth of the Nation, and he said that he wouldn't, and he promised William Trotter that he wouldn't, and they did, and they kind of painted the riots or protests as riots, and this is about 105 years ago, and I see kind of the same manipulation with the news. I think that it's the perspective and how people are getting information.
And any stories you guys are dying to tell?
Yeah. Right now, I think God is leading me towards animation. So right now I'm working on an animation that's really about the loss of Black youth's childhood. So really, and how your childhood trauma can conflict with what is the world trying to give you, So it's really just about going out there and catching on your dream and never letting it leave you.
All right.
So one story I want to tell, I go to an HBCU, and I'm from California, so going to the East Coast and seeing the different types of Black there were and how to navigate that, like, politically and socially, that's the story I want to tell. I want to tell the story of what it's like to go to an HBCU, or any school for that matter, and connecting with the woke people, the people who are fake woke. I want to tell that story, and how to navigate that political atmosphere as someone from, like, my perspective.
Right. Can we give it up for these storytellers? I'm going to give you guys a chance to ask questions. I think we got about 15 minutes left, but I want to do something right now. I want to call the chairman down, if I can. You guys, take a picture. All right. And this brother, I've had the pleasure of knowing Nate since he was 18 years old, right? In the late 90s, when brother, pull your pants up. Remember that? With the pants 3 sizes too big. And I just, one thing Nate understands, you guys heard it from the young people who were on the stage talking about Nate and just kind of his role. One thing that Nate knows, and he always says this, he says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, right? And, Nate is busy. Nate is super busy. But he understands that in pouring into these young people, he's pouring into his kids' kids, right? So this brother understands legacy. And brother, I am just thankful for your energy, thankful for your spirit. This brother, we're on conference calls at 10 in the morning, it's 7, I'm in Brooklyn, he's in California, but he's just committed, man. And this is the 5th year we've been doing it formally, but we've been going hard since 2008. I've watched you grow from a teenager, essentially, into a grown man, and I'm just so proud of this brother. Can we give it up for Nate Parker, y'all?
I've seen y'all so long, some of you. How's everyone doing? You all in the back, thank you so much for staying and supporting these young people. My favorite quote, and anyone that knows me knows I'm a big quote person, comes from Malcolm X. He said, if you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and take it out 3 inches, that's not progress. He said, if you take it all the way out, that's not progress. He said, it's not until you take it all the way out, heal the wound, and we discuss how that blow was made, that there's progress. And he said that our oppressor hasn't begun to take the knife out, right? Let alone talk about how it happened. He said our oppressor won't even admit that it's there. So when we talk about the things that are ailing our community, right, we have to understand where they sit. A lot of these things that we're talking about, whether it be education, lack of our identity, all these things are symptomatic of a bigger problem, right? I'm going to do something real quick. Can everybody that's a part of Nate Parker Foundation come over here? I want to make sure that we're not making this about me, but we're making this about the next generation. Just stand with me real quick. This is what we're doing. We're building an army, y'all. I'm 40. I keep telling them I'm tired. I'm old. Real quick, I want you all to stand with me. We talk so much about our problems, sometimes to the point where we're exhausted. But the reality is the stakes are so high. Even here we stand in this community, anyone that is from this community, historically from this community, knows how high the stakes are. We have so much to lose, but so much to gain in solidarity, right? So everyone to repeat after me, I am the solution. I am the solution. I am the solution. If you are from 0 to 18, I want you to repeat after me. I am the solution. I am, why you get quiet? 0 to 18, stand up. I am the solution. I am the solution. All right, 18 to 40, these are my people. I am the solution. I am the solution. All right, 40 and up are wise folks. I am the solution. I am the solution. Now together, I am the solution. I am the solution. I am the solution. We are bigger than the problems they say we have. We just are, right? We're bigger than the issues. We're bigger than the atrocities. We're bigger than all these things we face every day, but we got to do it like this. All right? This isn't about just the young people. This isn't about just MPF. This is about us being able to be in this room together and shut the door. Right. Something we have not been able to do historically in this country. Of course there's power in here. Of course. That's why we weren't allowed to have 2 or 3 in a group without one of our oppressors. But now that we have that right, what will we do with that right? What will we do with it? I'm sitting there, the sister comes up to me, my son has to be in this. And she starts telling me about his school. This is his school. These are the issues. All of us have those problems. All of us know someone, even the ones that have made it, all it takes is one phone call from 757 Virginia to realize just how decimated the community is. The things we're dealing with. Things from infant mortality to lack of education, to the enrollment going down, to dropout rates. These are all things that are symptomatic of the knife in our back. All I'm trying to do is empower the people to tell their story. Raise your hand if you got a story to tell. And you don't have to be a filmmaker. Raise your hand if you have a story to tell. Right? That is what this is about. Each and every one of these young folks had an idea. And what we've seen after every single institute is each of these young people going out and tell their stories. We're creating an army. Each filmmaker is a cell that'll go back to their community and be the change they want to see in their community. That's what this is about. As Brian said, a good man or woman leaves an inheritance for their children's children. What is the inheritance you are leaving? It's bigger than Madden 2020. I'm serious. And I'm not being critical. I'm just saying this is the reality. It's bigger than hashtags or likes or ats. It's bigger than that, y'all. It's bigger. Nintendo Switch. Whatever the distraction, it's bigger than that. And I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just reminding you of the stakes. I read an article not too long ago. It said, if the next 50 years is like the last 50 years, we will hardly exist outside of legal control. That's what we're dealing with. We don't have time to wait another generation. Not when technology is making it so our issues are compounded on top of each other.
That's right.
Right? Technology can do great things. But what is it doing for us with respect to ownership? What is it? How many of us are owners of these big technological projects? Not many. Right? But those are the things now that are driving culture. Those are the things that are driving change in our communities. Those are things that are winning elections. Right?
Right.
So we have to ask ourselves, what is the inheritance we're leaving for our children's children? I'm proof that you're going to get old. I can't move like I used to. My knees don't work as much as they used to. I feel like in my head I'm 18. If you're over 60, raise your hand. Do you sometimes feel like you're 18 in your head? All the time, right? Right? So I say that to say we don't have forever. We don't. The issues we're dealing with are right now. Brooklyn said, right now. Our children are the future. We might not have a future. Our children's children, I don't want to be sitting in a rocking chair and my great-great-granddaughter asking me, well, what did you do for it to be like it is right now? Right? Could you imagine what it feels like to go up to you, oh, I have an aunt that was born in the 60s. What were you doing in the 60s? Were you at the protest? Baby, I was trying to make ends meet. That's not enough. God will provide. We're going to eat. We're going to eat.
That's right.
Right? But what is the legacy we are leaving? If we can't answer that question or we're not in pursuit of that answer, we're wasting time, we're wasting space, and we're sucking up someone else's air that is willing to do that work. All right? I love you. You're here. We are able to shut the door and talk about these issues and see things that are controversial within the context of white supremacy. Because anything that challenges white supremacy is what? Controversial. Why? Because they have the power. And they is anyone that is diametrically opposed to what we want, which is freedom now and equity now. Right? So let's continue to put in the work. I want you to take a look at these young people from all walks of life, the things that they're doing. This is my inheritance. These are the people that are going to make it better for our children. You are too. They're doing it right now. Some of them is as simple as public speaking. Where's my sister at? Where is she go? Where did she go? Where did she go? Where did she go? Where did she go? When I first saw it, right here. Her, we talked to, who am I looking for? I know I saw her. Yeah, not King. King, come here too. King gonna be probably the mayor of the city one day. She's from California. Good to see you. Yeah, I thought, okay, I can't find her. But some, you see them, they're so shy they don't say a word, and then by the last day, what is it, y'all? I mean, they're giving speeches, they're giving advice. Come here, let me talk to you. Right? We're breaking down walls. We're healing. We're taking the knife out. We're flushing the wound. We're sewing it up. So you being here means so much to these young people. You giving your time, your support. Obviously, if they came here and there were no one in those seats, it would affect them greatly. But the fact that you're here, I thank you and I appreciate you. I don't know how much more we have of the program, but I want you to get a look at these young people and know that they're not just people making films, they're giants creating legacy. So let's continue to support them. I thank you for your continued support of the project. And like I said, I want to let you all know I love what you're doing. We have Maya, who's working for Paramount. We got, I mean, what are some of the accolades? NYU, MGM.
You name it.
Lauren, one of our producers, works on the set of Black Lightning.
Boom.
She got her own show.
Ashley got her own show. Raise your hand, Ashley. So look, so also if you're interested in having, you know a young person that could benefit from what we're doing, we have an application process on NateParkerFoundation.org. We're looking for people. Right now we have like what, 120
filmmakers.
You know, the next Ava DuVernay is within our group. The next Spike Lee is within our group, and you'll see it. And when it does, we'll let you know. But we're growing this one young person at a time. But it only works when we have support of you all. So I thank you for all that you've done for us so far. A lot of, you know, we have donors in here, we have supporters. But if you know someone that is interested, or if you know someone that desperately needs it, come talk to me and Brian. We'll figure out a way to get them involved, so they can walk into their destiny. So, of course, thank you. I appreciate it, Brian. So with that,
while we're standing up, if we could ask everyone to stand up, because we're about at time right now, but if we could ask you to stand up, could we all stand up?
All right.
Y'all know what this is. And because of the room, we can't make a circle, but you can touch somebody. If you could just touch somebody. So this is a communal affirmation. If you've been here in the past, you know what we're going to do. But this is a communal affirmation that Nate and I, we've been doing it for over 20 years. And in the Nate Parker Foundation, you know, call and response is such a powerful vehicle, powerful tool that we get from Africa. And we like to do it. This is a poem by one of our ancestors, Brother Gil Scott Heron. It's called Now More Than Ever. And in the end, we say Ashe. Can you say that, Ashe? Ashe is a Yoruba term. Bring it back. Ashe is a Yoruba term that means I am in agreement with. Right? So we're going to say this with some energy. We're going to send these young people off. They're getting on planes, going back all around the country. But as Nate said, we just appreciate the love every time we come here. We leave feeling more optimistic about our condition than we were when we came. So I just give thanks. I thank you, Nate, brother. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of all of you. And repeat after me and do it with some energy, y'all. Now, more than ever, all the brothers and sisters, must come together. All the brothers and sisters everywhere. Must see that the time is in the air. Common blood flows. Through common veins. And common eyes. All see the same. Now. More than ever. All the brothers and sisters must come together. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the festival.